Hello, welcome to Yin Yoga on this beautiful kind of fall day. We're getting there, but not quite there yet. So today we're going to get into the hips a lot. So make sure you have props that you need: blankets, bolster cushion if you've got that, a pillow if you don't have one, maybe a couple blocks if you like that support for dragons when we get into there. And we should be all good. So I'm going to sit on my blanket to start. So just find a nice, comfortable seat and just kind of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle and get settled down in there. Thinking about the ears, the shoulders, and the hips in alignment. Zip up from the pubic bone to behind the navel or belly button into the spine. We'll take a slight tuck in the chin. And we'll come into our practice. Good. So as you begin to turn inward, before you bring your awareness to your breath, bring the awareness to your body. So is there anywhere from crown to tail that you could soften just a little bit more? So is that somewhere in the face? Maybe even the tongue? Sometimes we don't realize it, but we actually do hold some tension in the tongue. You need the jaw, the shoulders, the hips. My big one today is the hips. And once you've softened just a little bit more, can you find a little bit more expansion in that rib cage with the breath? While noticing as you breathe and expand here, the quality of that breath. So is it short, long, rapid, smooth, choppy, anxious? Noticing as you expand through the rib cage on your inhales, are you starting to grip anywhere again? And can you relax and soften from crown to tail? Good. So we're going to get into the hips pretty deep today, maybe even a little bit in the low back. We're going to hold caterpillar a little bit longer today. So just kind of bring in a little bit of calming, knowing where we're going to go. Let's go into a little bit of alternate nostril breathing. This one can be hard for some of you if you've got a little bit of congestion, but just know that you can release this and go back to your normal breath at any time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take my right hand here, almost kind of like the Star Trek Live Long and Prosper, but not quite. So my thumb is going to close off my right nostril, and my ring finger and my middle finger are going to close off the left nostril. Your pointer finger here, some people like to rest that right in the third eye, right between the eyebrows or right above. Some people don't like to touch the forehead at all, and that's also fine. Thumb can be sticking out, or not the thumb, but the pinky finger can be sticking out, or it can come along with the other two fingers for the ride. So it's wherever you're comfortable. So from here, we're going to start. Nice exhale to prepare. Close right, inhale left. Pause as you close left, open right, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, open right, exhale. Inhale right. Close right, open left, exhale. Inhale. Close left, open right, exhale. Inhale. Close, open left, exhale left. Release and inhale. Good. So I noticed a little bit more congestion for me. that I didn't realize that I had. Hopefully you didn't hear it on the microphone, but fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, 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 and lengthen nice and tall, touching palms together. Exhale, hands to heart center. Connecting with an intention. So once again, I'm bringing in this week compassion for self, compassion for others. We had a little family death of a loved little furry baby in our family this weekend. So you can have compassion for that. We all know how that feels. And have compassion for other people, compassion for yourself. We're getting into the hips. So that might be pretty accurate. Inhale, reach and lengthen, and we'll grow taller. Good. Okay. So from here, we're just going to do just a gentle side bend. We're not going to spend too much time here, and just really focus on this area right here as you breathe and expand. Good. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Go right into the other side. Breathing and expanding. And coming back up. Good job. From here, we are going to come into just a little bit of an initial relaxation here. And we're going to be on belly down for this one. So coming into a little bit of centering. And this is also a good place to kind of try and find that spinal neutral. So you have spinal neutral in pretty much any position, standing, seated, on your back, and also belly down. So kind of find that here. For some people, that might be you need to just lengthen a little bit more through the low body. Kind of play here with the pelvis. Where does it feel good to you? Where does it feel natural to you? Breathing and expanding that side body. Relaxing through the shoulders. Good. Now from here, we're going to take our hands under the shoulders. My knees are about as wide as my mat here. Some of you might need a different alignment with yours, either bringing them together or maybe not quite as wide. We're going to press up and we're going to find a child's pose. So, excuse me. So I'm going to do an extended child's pose here, taking my arms forward. You can also take your hands back by the ankles, and some of you might want something with a little bit more support, and you can bring a bolster in here. This is really not technically the yin version of this, but some people just need that support. But so if you need that support because it's too tight back here, bring in that bolster or that cushion. Otherwise, you are all good to be right here. You're going to be here for 2 minutes. Bring in that compassion. You're about halfway there. Belly button is still in. We're still expanding that rib cage. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. I'm just going to slide my hands underneath my shoulders. Good. And I'm going to press up here. I'm just going to take a moment so that we don't get dizzy. Good. So I'm starting to feel a little bit more centered already. So I hope you are too. So we're going to keep moving on. So I'm going to bring my blanket in here just to sit on. And we're going to come to half butterfly as we prepare for straddle. So I'm going to start by taking my left leg out to the side here. So remember, we don't want it to be at our absolute widest. So for example, here's my widest, but I'm going to bring that in to about 85, 90%. I'm going to bring in my right foot here to my left thigh as well. And what we're going to do here is we're going to fold center. Okay. So if you need to support this knee because you're really tight in the hamstring, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you can always have that support in the front here as well. I'm going to grab my trusty timer here because we're going to be here for 3 full minutes. The correct code might be sufficient here as well. Okay, so we're big and tall, drawing up and in. Exhale, hinge from the hips, and we'll fold right here. Think about breathing and expanding into that back body. So even if you're on a prop, you still want to think about the sits bones and your tailbone being on the floor. So you don't want any lifting happening there. They're still grounded. Good. So my body wants to just collapse in here, but I'm trying to be a little bit more gentle with it so I can ease into this with a little bit more time and space and not go full force right out the bat. So be kind to yourself. We're in the second minute. We're halfway there. Now remember, as a reminder, on any of these, pain, numbness, tingling, burning, not good or normal sensations to have. So if you feel any of those, back off or come out completely. Also, even if you're not feeling any of those sensations, but if you find yourself in a place where you cannot breathe properly, steady, and at ease, that's also a sign that you've gone past your limit and you want to back off or come out completely until you can breathe with steady and easefulness. Relaxing through the shoulders, relaxing any gripping or holding, coming back to compassion for self. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Carefully, carefully come out of there. Good. Before we come out of here, let's do just a gentle twisty to each side. I'm just going to take a gentle twist to my left. Breathe and expand. And then let's take a gentle twist to the right. Breathe and expand. And coming back to center. Good. So move any props out of your space if you used any. And we're just going to switch that out. So I'm going to bring my left foot in now. My right leg is long. So again, think about 90-ish, 85%-ish. And then from here, whenever you're ready, maybe checking in with that anterior tilt of the pelvis if you need one. Tailbone comes behind, hip bones come forward. Big inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, hinging from the hips and fold. Good, 3 minutes here. Remember, not your deepest right off the start. Breathe and expand the back body, already noticing differences between one side and the other. Not just because your left side is a little bit more open than your right side at the moment, but just remembering how it felt coming in. So this is my tighter side today, totally. Coming to the breath. Your belly button is still in here. We're still engaged. Coming into the second minute. We're halfway there. Could you find a little bit more expansion in that rib cage? We're in the final minute. Steady and at ease. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Carefully, carefully come out of there. Good. We'll take those gentle twists. So maybe a gentle twist towards the right. And we'll release and a gentle twist towards the left. And release. Good. I'm just going to take both legs forward here for a moment and just let them shake, shake, shake. We're going to take this into full straddle now. So both legs will come out wide. So we've done a little bit of prep for that 3 times each side. Now we're going to take the legs wide. So we're going to be here a little bit longer. We're going to try this one for 4 minutes. Okay, we've prepped a little bit. So just remember though, if you need to come out before the 4 minutes is up, then please do so. So I'm just going to take my legs out to the side. I'm going to reconnect here into a anterior tilt of the pelvis. So tailbone's coming back, hip bones are rocking forward. My feet are in flexion. Again, cushion or support your knees. If you need to do that, you can bring a cushion in here for support, knowing that we're going to be here for 4 minutes. So whenever you're ready, nice and tall, reach, 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 big inhale. Exhale, hinging from the hips, coming forward. So remember, We don't need to be at our max right off the top. We're going to be here for those 4 minutes. Notice how it's a little bit different when both legs are out wide versus just one. Think about head and neck being an extension of your spine. So there's nothing on your chest that the chin needs to touch. There's nothing on a wall in front of you that you need to look at. My gaze is right off the tip of my nose. Belly button is still in. We just entered the 2nd minute. Think about length in the spine. So try not to get a hump going back there. So head and neck are an extension. As we begin to start to come in the halfway point, notice, so my body really wants to sink in a little bit deeper. And that feels good right for a few seconds, but then it doesn't feel good after a couple seconds. So I'm kind of backing off a little bit. So you'll see me do that. That's okay to do that. Touch where your body kind of wants to sink in and then back off a little bit. And then maybe the next time you can sink in a little bit deeper. And then maybe not so much. So it's about finding your limits. Find some expansion in that rib cage as we begin to enter the final minute. "15 seconds. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So remember, carefully come out. You never want to just pop out of a yin pose. Good. And then from here, kind of notice how you feel. I'm going to bring my legs in just a little bit closer as we take that counter rotation to the left. And then maybe go right into the right. Good. From here, I'm just going to make a little bit of an adjustment with my props here. We're going to come in a caterpillar. Caterpillar is going to be another 4-minute pose. So again, I'm going to sit up on my blanket here. And I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to need a bolster or not at some point. So I'm just going to have it close so it's there in case I need it. Good. Now for caterpillar, Before you do anything, find that anterior tilt of the pelvis again. So tailbone coming back, hip bones rocking forward. You can have legs closer together if you're someone that needs to be just a little bit wider than hip width apart or hip width apart. Take that one. If you're going to use the bolster, that will be right on top here. Maybe a little flexion in the toes. And then from here, when you're ready, big inhale, reach and lengthen. We're still zipping up from the pubic bone up behind the navel. Exhale, hinge forward, and then let everything kind of sink down here. Good. So again, support your knees if you need that support. Breathe and expand into that back body. Maybe you can touch your feet or your toes right now. Maybe you can't. So in terms of self-compassion, where could you be a little bit more compassionate with yourself? Is that listening to your body and backing off when it tells you to back off? Or is it like for me, I just launched my website, even though a lot of people will like that website, not everybody will because I am not for everyone, and that's okay. So, not beating myself up about that is a way to practice self compassion for myself. So it's like I know what I know, I teach what I know, I learn new things, and I try to be as authentic as possible. So it's self-compassion for me and taking comfort in knowing all of those things and not beating myself up that I'm not perfect or that I don't have the quote unquote perfect yogi body. So that's how I've found self compassion lately. How could you find it with yourself? Good. Beginning to enter into our final minute. Good. And we've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So remember, carefully, carefully come out. Low back's going to be a little vulnerable here. Good. I'm just going to sit here for a moment. I'm going to let my legs just kind of relax and do what they feel they need to do. I'm going to take my hands to the side and behind of me, and then I'm just going to support myself coming back. I'm going to shine my heart towards the ceiling. Now I'm still engaged in my front body. I'm just taking a little bit of a gentle extension here. Nothing too deep, nothing too major. And then from here, nodding that chin looking forward. I'm going to take this up. Good. I'm going to shift forward, coming off of my blanket. I'm just going to put the blanket to the side. And we're going to relax here for a moment in a corpse pose. So coming onto your back. Good. And as you come to your back with a little bit of a bend in the knees or letting everything go long, just kind of feel how you feel. Low back's going to feel vulnerable for most of us because it was in that caterpillar for a long time. So if it still feels a little too vulnerable, or if you're not quite sure, put a little bend in your knees. That should help take care of some of that. And we're just kind of letting that area settle down a little bit before we go into our next little hip opener. Good. Now, speaking of that hip opener, I'm just going to kind of lift my upper body a little bit here. I'm going to pull these props that are to my side in the way of my legs kind of out of the way. So as we're on our backs here, we're going to go into a more of a gentle little twisty here. Move that other way. Good. So I'm going to take my arms out to the side. I'm going to take my knees into a tabletop position. So knees over hips, shins parallel to the floor. Think about length, think about zipping up. Big inhale, exhale. I'm going to take my knees over towards my right, trying to keep left shoulder grounded as I look to the left. Good. We'll be here for 2 minutes. Breathe and expand. Good. We're halfway there. Coming up into the 2nd minute now. So expand that rib cage. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. From here, let's take one leg at a time. Coming back to center. Take the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little gentle rock side to side. Let things reset itself. And then we're going to take that all to the other side. So resetting, knees in tabletop position, arms out to the side, zipping up, finding some length. And whenever you're ready, inhale, exhale, taking those knees over to the left, trying to keep right shoulder grounded as you look to the right. Breathe and expand, 2 minutes. Getting ready to come in the final minute. Coming back to your breath, coming back to your intention. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Head back to center, one leg at a time. Coming back in. Give yourself a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Maybe hands to the knees. Maybe some little circles in one direction and then in the other. Good. So from here, we're going to transition. So carefully in the way that's best for you, on the side that's best for you, roll over to your side and carefully press yourself up to a seat. Now sit here for a moment. We've been on our back for a little bit. And then when you feel okay, then we will set ourselves up for dragon. So a deeper hip opener here. Good. So this one, you might want a blanket in or bringing in a bolster. Sometimes a bolster can be a little bit more comfortable on the forearms if you need to bring the floor up a little higher. So again, I never really know, even when I'm teaching, if I need that or not. So I'm going to bring that right here just in case I need it. Good. So from here, let's start on all fours. And we're going to start by taking the right foot forward for our dragons. I'll just move this out of the way here. Good. So what I'm going to do in the way that's best for you, I'm just going to bring that right foot forward here. Now, I've got a hand on each side. I'm just going to use that for a little bit of support as I lift my left knee and take it back a little bit because you want that knee to be behind the hip. So if you need extra cushion under here, go ahead and bring that in. Good. Now I'm going to take both hands on the inside of this right foot, and you're going to decide where you want to come in. So for some of us, that might be just staying right here, at least for the first part. It might mean that some of us take our right leg out a little bit wider. Good. Some of us might go into an external rotation here, which is where I'm going to practice. That just means hip, knees, and toes are going to track out to the side. Hip, knees, and toes always want to track in the same direction. So you can be here. You can bring a bolster in if you want to, or even blocks onto the forearms. You choose. I'm going to start here. And we're going to be here for 3 minutes. And then I'm going to let myself sink into deeper versions as we go on. But support that low back by being engaged in the front body. So can you still be zipped up from pubic bone to behind the navel? Some people like to rock a little bit side to side here. Nothing wrong with that. Good. And for those of you that like to roll onto the edge of that right foot, remember, you can just kind of touch that a little bit and then come back in. And touch it a little bit and come back in. Good. So I am going to bring in my bolster today for sure. Thank you. Good. So we're into the second minute. So word of caution, if your forearms are on the ground, on blocks or a bolster cushion, whatever it is that you're using or doing here, remember you still want to keep a strong upper body here. So you don't want to collapse to the chest. You want to think about still pressing whatever prop or the floor away with your forearms and your elbows. So your shoulders are in their pockets. So this is an active pose. It does focus primarily on the hips, but that doesn't mean that we don't engage everywhere else. Good. Final minute. Good. And I think I can get rid of my bolster now. So I'm going to just slide that to the side. So remember, there's nothing wrong with steps. Props are a way to help you get to a certain point with support. But maybe one day you find yourself open and you don't need to be as reliant on those props anymore. And that's okay too. You're just there if you need them. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So I went down to the floor. I'm going to come up. I'm going to take my foot down. I'm going to bring that foot back in. And I'm just going to carefully ease myself coming into a nice, gentle counter half split pose here. Keeping my torso long if you want to fold in. And then when you're ready, we're going to switch sides. Now, if you need to kind of do something here, need to kind of work something out, remember, you can always do that. Sometimes I need to. So just kind of feel whatever it is that you need to feel like you need to do. And then when you're ready, we'll set ourselves up and we'll take that into the other side. So now that left foot's going to come more forward. Good. I'm going to tuck my right toes. I'm going to lift that right knee. I'm going to take that knee back just a little bit more here. Good. And then when you're ready, remember, find where you need to come. Hands on the inside. Maybe you need to come a little bit wider, maybe an external rotation, maybe a prop or something like that. I'm looser on this side today, so I don't need to be with my prop. So I'm just going to be right here. And I'm just going to breathe. We talked about compassion for self. We've talked about compassion, or I guess we're getting ready to talk about compassion for other people. That means different things. Sometimes you can find it by just empathizing with someone's situation, or trying to put yourself in their shoes. Sometimes it might come from something that you've experienced before, so you have an idea of how that person is feeling. Or it might be something a little bit more. You just really get the emotional aspect of something that's going on. So for me, I've never been a refugee, but my heart goes out to every single one that is fleeing violence, and particularly women and girls that are fleeing sexual violence as a result of war and those kinds of tactics. So compassion for others and compassion for self. We're coming into the final minute. Breathe and expand. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Carefully, carefully come out from where you went. And take that foot back in. I took mine out a little bit wider. Find that little counter half split pose here with the long torso. You can sink in for a moment. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, we're going to come out of there and we're going to find ourselves on our back again. We're going to do one more final twisty here before we come into Shavasana. So make sure that your space is clear on both sides of you for your twist. Good. And as you come down, if one more time, you need to kind of take the knees in and kind of rock, that's fine here too. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take both feet down, roll your shoulders under. Good. I'm going to press into my feet. I'm going to lift my hips. I'm going to shift my hips over to my left. I'm going to take my arms out. I'm going to cross my left leg over my right. So try to think about it more into the thigh. And then I'm going to let those knees come to my right. Good. And just notice. So we're going to be here for 3 minutes. Breathe and expand. If you feel pressure on your knees at any point, then just uncross the legs and just stack the legs and the knees together like we did for the first twist, or you can always come out completely. Good. Breathe and expand. We're in the second minute. Remember, we're still engaged in the core. We want to protect that low back. Good. Getting ready to enter the final minute. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Head back to center. Good. Now, Depending on how you feel, it's going to depend on your transition. If you feel okay in the back, you're strong in the core, you can keep your knees together as you come back in. Otherwise, you can follow me carefully uncrossing and coming back to center. Good. Press both feet into the mat. Bring the hips back to center. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle here for a moment. Good. And then as you're ready, we're going to take that right into the other side. So now pressing into both feet, lifting the hips, taking the hips over to the right. Right thigh is going to cross over the left thigh as best as you can. And we'll let those knees come to the left. So final 3 minutes here. Breathe and expand. And same as on the other side. If something happens and your knees become unhappy over here, or really any other place in your body, it comes unhappy, you can undo the knees, the legs, and just let them stack, or it can come out completely. Good, over halfway there. Find your expansion. Remember, belly button is still in here. We're protecting the low back. We're in the final minute. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So from here, unless your core is really strong and nothing feels too vulnerable, you can use your abs to come back. Where I'm just going to undo my legs here and bring that back in the center, nice and gentle, pressing through the feet, taking the hips back to center. I'm going to take my feet as wide as my mat here, and we're just going to get a little windshield wiper. Okay, just bringing everything back into balance. And then I'm going to set myself up for Shavasana. So I'm going to bring in one of my blankets. I'm going to bring that in as a little bit of a neck pillow. Oh, it's a little bit too far away than I wanted, but I'm going to come up and I'm going to bring my bolster in. You know, I like my bolster a lot of times under the thighs for some nice support, nice low back release. Low back, get a lot of work today, those upper hips. And then I'm just going to relax right here, rolling shoulders under. We'll be here for a few moments. Try to make yourself about 10% more comfortable as to where you're going to go, which might not look like me. And as you turn inward, maybe bring your focus to that heart center. the heart of compassion. Begin to come back into a little bit more awareness, taking some deep breaths. Choose stillness or gently take head and neck from side to side. Choose stillness or invite movement of toes and fingers. Choosing stillness or carefully taking knees into the chest, choosing to keep the upper body grounded or maybe lifted for a full body hug. And choosing stillness or carefully moving any props out of the way if you used any for your Shavasana time today. Taking legs long in front of you, arms long behind you, and reach and lengthen from the edge of the fingertips, the edge of the toes, full body stretch, point and flex through the feet. Bend and stretch through the hands, twirling wrists and ankles in one direction, and then in the other. And then from here, whenever you're ready, carefully bending in both knees. And you choose rolling over onto your right or left side, the side that works best for you in this moment. Taking a moment to pause. And then when you're ready, pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. Maybe the same one we started with, maybe a different one. Bring my blanket back in. Good. And then maybe fingertips to the side as you find that nice tall spine. Notice how you feel now versus when you started. Palms up towards the ceiling. Inhale, reach, 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 reach. Touching palms together. Exhale, hands in the heart center. Reconnecting with your intention. One more time. Compassion for self, compassion for others. We'll take thumbs to the forehead for good and true thoughts. To our lips for good and kind words. And to our hearts for open, loving, and compassionate hearts, knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. May you be safe. May you stay well. May you have a wonderful day, week ahead. May you always know and be able to give compassion to others. Namaste.